Okay, joining us today, Matt Johns from Pōkeno Whisky, always working on interesting things, whether it's barrel maturation or really fun collaborations. And this is possibly one of the most exciting in terms of how many people from how many different parts of the world are going to be really excited about this remarkable release, a 25th anniversary Lord of the Rings edition called Ringbearer. Uh, Matt, please tell us how Pōkeno came to be involved in this project.
I'm still not quite sure, to be honest with you. It's a really interesting one. This has been going on for a kind of a year and a half. And it started by a visit to the distillery by a couple of American guys, probably a year and a half ago. I wasn't there at the time. They saw Gareth, and Gareth showed them around. Apparently on the way back from Hobbiton, and they'd come in and they tasted our whiskey, loved our whiskey, and then they'd said to Gareth, "Well, are you interested in producing a whiskey bottled in Middle Earth for Lord of the Rings?" And Gareth had called me up and said, "Are you interested in doing that?" I'm going, "What? Lord of the Rings? Well, don't know. I'm really not sure," kind of thing. And I suppose I'd taken this at the start as being only half serious. Somebody pops into the distillery and goes, "Do you want a bottle of whiskey in Middle Earth?" You kind of go, "Yeah, okay, whatever," kind of thing. And actually, it was. I think the underlying thing for me is we're not a marketing company.
Hmm.
Um, so my big resistance at the start was I'm never going to do anything which is only marketing. It has to add value to the product, and it has to be. I have to be able to stand up and defend it. I'm not going to get dressed up in a Hobbit costume and run around saying I've got a Lord of the Rings bottle just because it's Lord of the Rings. So I think for
Although
me,
some people may pay good money for that as
some
a
people
bonus with
may
the
pay
bottle.
for good money. Yeah, that's it. For me, running around in a Hobbit costume. Yeah. But it was. So I think for me, it was kind of. We went on this journey with these guys, um, and it actually worked out that these guys were from a creative agency in the US who are licensed by Warner Brothers to produce collectibles for Lord of the Rings, and also have the license for spirits, Lord of the Rings spirits from the Lord of the Rings films and the Hobbit films. And they are the only people in the world to have this license, which is crazy, because you have to go through this complex and complicated thing with Warner Brothers has passed the license. There's a group in Sweden which has another part of the license, and everybody has to agree and the rest of it kind of thing. Even Hobbiton does not have a license to sell spirits, which is why you could not sell a bottle of spirits in Hobbiton. They can do their beer, they can do their stuff that they do out of the green dragon inn, but you can't do spirits. So kind of gradually over the course of the kind of 6 months, we kind of went, okay. So they want to license us. We're the only whiskey distillery in Middle Earth. Okay, get that. Can we make this fit with our kind of philosophy of producing creative and innovative whiskies, which are a true reflection of our culture and climate? Okay, so that's
Hmm.
our underlying thing. That's the almost the means test kind of thing. You go, okay, is it innovative and creative? Well, okay, it's creative because it's Lord of the Rings. I get that. That I can do. I can make the whiskey innovative, and if I make the whiskey innovative and reflect it with kind of Middle Earth, Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth is intrinsically associated with New Zealand. You watch the film, you go around the world. There's 650,000 people a year who come and visit Hobbiton in the Waikato. We're in the Waikato, so you kind of go, okay, yeah, I can make this fit within my kind of philosophy of what I'm trying to do, providing I do something special enough with the product, which makes it not just all about the marketing, and providing I position the product at a price point which fits with our philosophy of
Hmm.
saying in whiskies which people can go and buy, they can taste, they can buy again, etc. And the rest of it. We're not hitting this $800 collector's thing which doesn't fit with what we're doing. So we
Yeah.
spent a lot working through with the creative agency about how that could work. It took about a year before we actually pushed the button and said, "Yep, we're willing to go and we're happy to go on this." It was very important for us about having control as well,
Hmm.
which is not necessarily the way that these things normally work. In the fact that all of the commercialization of the product is done by ourselves. So we are controlling the route to market. We're controlling the price points. We're controlling everything, and that was really important to me. So we kind of started on this journey, and then it was kind of going okay. And it's funny because I watched the films probably 25 years ago.
Hmm.
And I've not really watched them since. I know so much more about Lord of the Rings now. I mean, yeah, if you'd have told me that I'd be buying Gandalf's pipe and the Sting sword from Weta Workshops a few years ago, I'd be going, "You're absolutely crazy," but I have, which is cool. And actually, when you deep dive into it, you realize that there's an incredible fan base around the world for this, and it's not
Mm.
just fans of the film; it's fans of New Zealand, it's fans of Middle Earth, it's fans of etc. and the rest of it. So actually, there's this kind of whole effect of saying, well, yeah, this is a whiskey produced in Middle Earth in the Waikato. This is what we're about. This is what we do. Kind of made sense in the end. So yeah, so we kind of went on this journey, and the product. I spent a lot of time going, okay, what can we do on the product to have a touch of Middle Earth kind of thing? So
Hmm.
I wanted to do something different. So it had to be something different, but it had to be at the same time something which was manageable in a big enough volume. Because this is quite a big volume. Because it's amazing. You start off going, oh, there are 500 bottles of the product that we find. And then when people start finding out that it's, the Lord of the Rings product, it's snowballs and snowballs, which is quite amusing as well. So with this product, we were really looking to go, okay, and this is going to sound a bit poetic now, but this is kind of the way we did do it, is we kind of go, okay, Lord of the Rings is all about strength. Okay, it's the
Hmm.
strength of fellowship, it's the strength of etc. So it has to be a whiskey which is robust and strong. Okay, uh, so okay, I'm going to add an element of virgin cask in there. Okay, I'm going to make it a
Ah,
robust
okay.
enough whiskey with the virgin cask. So that's where the virgin cask came from. Um, you've got a whole mixture of kind of personalities in there as well. In the community, the community of the rings kind of thing. The nine ring bearers. There's a whole kind of mixture of personalities. So we wanted to give the whiskey different personalities, and especially I wanted to give it a real touch of Middle Earth. Now, what is the biggest thing that's associated with New Zealand for people around the world, Asia, etc.? It is the Manuka honey. And so
Hmm.
I had it at the back of my mind for a while, going, okay, cool. I need to try and play around with something with Manuka honey, which obviously becomes challenging because you obviously cannot flavor your whiskey with Manuka honey, etc. And the rest of it. We actually found a local honey company who wanted to do barrel aged Manuka honey. We went, okay, that's cool. So we lent them barrels to age their Manuka honey in for 6 months. They then emptied the barrels, drained the barrels, and it's actually quite complicated because when you're draining Manuka honey out of a barrel, you have to heat the barrel to heat the honey
Mm.
to get it liquid
Yeah.
enough so the honey will actually tip all out, kind of thing. Um,
Otherwise, it's very sticky.
Otherwise, it's very, very sticky. And you rinse the barrel with hot water because we didn't want the residues, the honey in the
Mm.
barrel, etc. And the rest of it, we really wanted the wood to influence it. Um, so we did that. We also seasoned some Manuka honey casks ourselves by buying some very expensive Manuka honey, mixing it with new make spirit, and then rolling it around in barrels for 6 months.
Hmm.
Uh, and stuff like that. So we're going to season those barrels with Manuka honey. And then basically we put whiskey in there to finish for a year. So we've taken stock which is 4.5, 5 years old, put it in there for a
Mm.
year to see how it came out at the end. And it's pretty incredible how much impact it actually has on the product. Anything more than about 5 or 6% in the blend is too much. It just
Wow.
it,
Yeah.
it just impacts it incredibly. So again, there's only a small percentage in there, but it really does on the finish, especially. You really get those Manuka honey notes, and for me, there's almost a textural thing going on,
Okay.
which is which
Shall
is which
we?
is
Shall we open it up? Shall we
go
open it
for
up
it,
and have a
go
little
for it,
taste?
and reveal the map of Middle Earth. There we go.
I mean, this is one of the things you guys do always such a beautiful job of is your packaging. And so it's textural from the get go. You can, feel
A
the,
big shout out there to Forbes, our box supplier. They tried everything they could to get this incredible leather texture out of the box, and they've done an incredible job. They really have.
yeah,
It's pretty special.
it is just amazing. And so it has that iconic Pōkeno, split box,
Yeah.
but then it opens up, of course, to the incredible maps, and there it is, glistening. Uh, all right, we'll do the old cork pop.
But
People love a cork
you've
pop.
not even had a sneak taste of this before.
Absolutely not. I wanted the full experience and to share it with you because, why not? I mean, you can read the tasting notes all day, but then you go, okay, well, let's see how we go. So here it is, first pour.
There we go. And so there's a couple of cask types that we'd never used before in there. So we've got the Manuka honey cask, but you've also got
Mm-hmm.
muscat casks, full maturation muscat. And again, for me, that was to balance bring a bit of sweetness out. Because funnily enough, Manuka honey is not that sweet. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
goes, "It's got to be sweet," but it's got kind of a sweet finish. But the Manuka honey in itself is not that sweet. And so the
Really
muscat,
herbal.
yeah,
Herbal, floral, spicy,
that's it.
minty.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sweet at the
And
end.
so the
So
kind of the muscat casks with that zesty orange kind of thing really balanced out the honey, which I thought was interesting. And then the virgin, and then there's some first of all bourbon casks in there as well, just to pad it out and bring those citrus kind of fruity notes in that we like.
mm,
A lot of time when we blended this together after about, I think it took 6 days and 50 different attempts. Because the balancing was really difficult with the Manuka honey casks, really difficult. Um, but for me, it's great because it doesn't really come in at the start, but it comes in at the end, which is what I love. But anyway, I'll let you taste it. You tell me what you think.
no, the point was that you were going to walk through the tasting note first. But
So the tasting side notes that I get is obviously on the nose. You're always going to have a bit about citrus and tropical fruits.
mhm,
You've got that kind of, you almost a bit of the herbal stuff going on from the honey a bit on the nose. For me, you're then going into there's a robust middle palate with the virgin casks where you're getting those kind of the creamy vanilla beans, the stuff you're expecting. And then it just seems to launch into this kind of almost hot toddy like Manuka honey citrus ending, which
mm.
is I find really interesting. Um,
I
but
think
yeah,
uh, immediately in the mid palate, we'll come back to the nose in a second, but immediately in the mid palate gets into that really chewy sweetness, citrus. There's grain happening, but there's also some really condensed and quite intense fruit character, which again then it just starts to kind of pull through that hot toddy. When it's viscous with honey and with whiskey and with lemon
as
juice.
I said before, the crazy thing is it's almost textural,
Yeah,
which is
absolutely.
which is a little strange because this product has been filtered through our systems like everything else. So there's no turbidity, there's nothing any more than our normal products. But you've almost got this real kind of chewy textural
Mm.
thing going on, which I find really interesting.
Well, and it's not. I mean, every whiskey has texture, but I don't necessarily think about Pōkeno traditionally being texture led, because it has that lightness, that sweetness, that fruit forward driven component. And so the spirit underneath is really elegant backbone. But here, the texture is coming to play. And yeah, I think in a really exciting way, I think that the virgin oak definitely is adding a lot of fuzz and structure right from that first sip and just kind of giving you, as you say, like a robust kind of a strength to say, here we are.
It's definitely quite funky,
Mm,
which I like, and I like that. Yeah, the Manuka honey cask for me have added an element which is really interesting to the product. So for me, the product's interesting. That's what I like. I'm going the product. Am I proud? Like, it's like anything. Am I proud enough to stand behind the product on its own? Yes, I am. It was interesting. We did a tasting in a liquor land about 3 weeks ago. And I actually did the tasting. It was there were 20 people there in the evening in the back room kind of thing. And so I actually pulled a bottle of Lord of the Rings out at the end and said, "Hey guys, guess what you're going to taste? You're the first people in the world." And they're like, "What is that?" I went, "Lord of the Rings." And all these people are between like 50 and 70. Um,
hmm
Everybody's sick kind of thing. And out of 20 people, 16 people pre-ordered a bottle. I'm going, ah!
hmm
And that wasn't done on the basis of Lord of the Rings because they couldn't care about Lord of the Rings, or it was done on the taste profile. Again, this is awesome. This is really interesting. So that for me was important.
Well, and you want it to stand out that even if it didn't have kind of the Ringbearer name and the Lord of the Rings association, that it's actually a whiskey you'd be really proud of. And I think that treatment of Manuka, again, it speaks to me of how maybe and I'm interested in your take. It feels to me like we're really maturing in our not just our palate, but our technical sensibilities around how Manuka as an ingredient, whether it's smoke, whether it's honey, how that can actually play into our whiskey making, and how we, are perhaps becoming a little more broad in our thinking about it. A Manuka honey seasoned cask is almost like the next step on from a mead cask, but just getting really focused in on the ingredient.
Imagine a Manuka honey seasoned cask with a Manuka smoked malt in it. Watch this space. That could be even better.
Those are
So,
words I think I almost never thought I'd ever hear you say, Matt Johns.
I know,
But
yeah, it's fun. For me, the product is fun. I mean, it's out there. We're positioning it at 229 a bottle,
mhm.
which with the obviously licenses cost money. We have to pay for them as well, kind of thing. But we've managed to keep this at a price point which is, for me, really good for the level of product it is and the collector's item which it will become, kind of thing. So again, the idea: get out there, drink it, enjoy it, and yeah, just don't put it on the shelf. Be ashamed to not take it with you.
Yeah, no, this is absolutely one to open and enjoy, I think. The other thing that comes sort of screaming off the nose to me, particularly as you go in kind of, second and third sniff, the muscatel, I think, is delivering a really lovely round sweetness, right in the middle of that aroma, and it then just kind of pulls through. It's so well balanced. That's one of the things I think, Pōkeno, the way that you approach the ingredients aspect of how you bring these whiskies together. You did it with the alchemy as well. I think that's, it's kind of a trademark of that Pōkeno style. But in this one, you have that really interesting, still citrus, fruit driven nose, but then underneath all this interesting complexity from first moment. So
It's about the balance. For me, it's all about the balance. We don't want anything to be one dimensional. It's very easy
mm,
to one dimensional whiskey. It's all about getting those ingredients to work together, getting those casks to work together. And some casks don't. I mean, we started off with 15 different cask types when we did this kind of product, etc. And some of the casks just didn't work together. There was some stuff that I thought was going to work with it, which didn't. I mean, I was convinced Amontillado was going to work with Mocha honey, didn't at all. So again, yeah, there's lots of stuff, lots of stuff there that we just went, no, that's not going to work, and stuff that surprisingly did work. So,
mm. Although I've got time all day for Amontillado most of the time. Maybe not with Manuka honey, based on your face, but
not
yeah.
with Mocha honey, yeah, that's it. I'm
Oh,
doing a dinner on
fantastic.
Friday night at the distillery, and the old fashions are being made with Amontillado. So there you go.
Oh, talk my language. That's really exciting. Is it just in New Zealand? Is it going worldwide?
No, it's
How will
going.
people find it?
It's going in. It's going into the US. It's going into Australia and a couple of other markets. New Zealand, obviously, buy it online from ourselves. We're doing a teaser campaign at the moment on social media. It comes out officially on the 7th of August.
Hmm.
And yeah, you could order selected liquor lands as well. And then duty free, we're going to have it all over our duty free stand in Auckland Airport, because obviously all those people coming to visit Hobbiton.
Absolutely, and I do think you may in fact be the only whiskey distillery in Middle Earth for sure.
I
So
think we are
well
the only
done.
whiskey distillery in Earth. So we're gonna on the eighth of August, we're doing. Now you like this? I've been reading the books. We're doing 11s at the distillery.
Oh my goodness. So
11s at the distillery with merch packs to win and everything. You see, so there you go.
it's amazing because I actually thought that you had to be able to do, a full discourse on the Lord of the Rings before you could even get residency here. But turns out you've only been in New Zealand for how many years now, and you're finally getting on the Lord of the Rings train.
Well,
Well
look,
done.
it's funny, isn't it? Because in Australia, for example, our friends at the Whisky Club Australia are putting it out there. And a little did I realize that Bertie was a huge Tolkien fan. So apparently he's been playing the Hobbit music in the office on loudspeaker for the last 2 weeks, and the guys are absolutely sick of it.
Oh, well, it's a really exciting release. Congratulations, and I hope that it brings more Lord of the Rings fans to whiskey. But for whiskey fans, this is a bona fide, really, really great drop, and yeah, just another reason to be excited about what's happening in Pōkeno.
Thank you.